Hi everyone, and welcome back. My name is Alex Malos, and I'm your Azure brother. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in your role and you're looking for a way to reinvent yourself to get into a new field? Or maybe you just finished school and now you have a lot of free time, so you're looking to learn something new? Or maybe you already work in IT and you heard all these buzzwords from my previous episode about securing identities through solutions like multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, conditional access policies, or passwordless. And you decided that it's time to learn about them, but you have no idea where to start. If that's you, then you're in the right place. So let's introduce some fundamental concepts of identity in very simple, non-technical ways. So let's think of this analogy in the real world. How do you prove who you are? You use things like an ID, a passport, or a driver license. And what information do they contain? Well, your first name, last name, maybe a unique identifier, or your nationality and then expiration date. And why are these things important? Well, when you go to the bank or the airport, or maybe a government office, you show your ID to prove you are who you say you are. And a very familiar analogy is the authentication protocol we follow every time we go to the airport. So you can't simply just walk to the gate and present your passport and just go to the plane. Instead, you must first check in at the ticket counter and you show your passport. After verifying that your picture matches your face, so the authentication, the agent looks up for your flight in their system and verifies that you have paid for that ticket. And assuming that everything is in order, you receive a boarding pass, which you take to the gate. Not any gate, but the one for your flight. What is the digital equivalent? Well, let's say the username, password, and email address or a phone number, and let's stick to that for a moment. Why do we need a digital identity in the first place? Well, you already know that, because you need to access certain websites, so an Instagram or TikTok or various apps via mobile or a tablet or your laptop, like so applications like WhatsApp or YouTube or so forth, as well as services, an email, Google Drive, ServiceNow, and so forth. So as you can see, this is becoming more and more complex, having so many identities. Now, in my previous video, I was mentioning that we are going to draw. So let's get started. All right, so welcome to my drawing board. Whenever I go to the airport, I take with me some form of identification, because otherwise they won't be able to let me in. So I have a passport with me, which contains my name. It has a picture, a unique identifier, an expiration date. So then I go ahead and present these documents to the airport so that I can fly to the country wherever I want to fly. Or in the banking example, so that I can access my bank account. Now, when it comes to the digital world, I have different applications or platforms that I would like to access. So be it that I check my mail, I access Slack at work, for example, or I use Azure, because I'm your Azure brother. I need to have an identity to access these platforms. So this is something that I've seen quite common with a lot of people to say I mix these concepts of user and identity. Well, let's also write this down. When we think of a user, this is basically you and me. Now, the identity is actually the representation, the digital representation of that user. So a user can have multiple identities, as you can see it on the screen. Now, let's recap and put this all together. So a physical identity, like a passport or a national ID card, proves who you are in the real world. In the digital world, we have an identity, So a username and password, and maybe a phone number for a second factor authentication. And this one proves who we are online. We use these identities to access services and applications. And the single person, as I was mentioning, can have multiple digital identities. In our next video, we're gonna expand on this. So we're gonna explore where these identities live, whether they are on premises, in the server room, or in the cloud. Get ready to draw our next piece of our master diagram together. And that's it for today. If you found this helpful, please join my channel in order to get notified and whenever I publish the next episode. And remember, when it comes to Azure, you always got your brother in the cloud. See you in the next one.